So good morning to all of you. So this class I am going to explain how to solve a linear programming problem involving mixed type of constraints. That is constraints having less than or equal sign and constraints having greater than or equal sign. So in the previous class I have discussed the LPP involving only less than or equal type constraints. Okay. So to handle mixed type of constraints, we have another method in the simplex method that is called as big M method. So this is a part of simplex method. It is not a separate method. Right. So what are the steps involved in this big M method? So what is simplex method? In first step, we convert the LPP into standard form. After converting the LPP into standard form, we examine whether the coefficient matrix contain unit matrix or not. If the coefficient matrix contain unit matrix, we proceed. Suppose the coefficient matrix does not contain unit matrix. In that case, we use big M method. That means we use big M method to handle that situation. Okay. First step, as usual, express the problem in the standard form. If the coefficient matrix does not contain unit matrix, add sufficient number of new variables called artificial variables to appropriate equations in order to get unit matrix. So after converting the LPP into standard form, suppose the coefficient matrix does not contain unit matrix. So in that case, we have to use another new variables that are called as artificial variables. Okay. So we add a sufficient number of new variables to appropriate equations in order to get unit matrix. Okay. So these variables are called as artificial variables. Okay. So this will be given in 1 mark questions. What is artificial variable or what is the use of artificial variable? Okay. So what is artificial variable? After converting the LPP into standard form, if the coefficient matrix does not contain unit matrix, we add sufficient number of new variables to appropriate equations in order to get unit matrix. Those new variables are called as artificial variables. Okay. Already we have discussed two new variables, slack and surplus variables. Okay. So to convert less than or equal type constraint, we add slack variable. To convert greater than or equal type constraint to equality, we subtract surplus variable. Okay. Those are two variables already we have discussed it, slack and surplus variables. So this is the third new variable, that is artificial variable. Okay. So what is the main difference between artificial variable and those two variables, slack and surplus variables? So suppose the constraint is less than or equal type, it is possible to add a non-negative quantity on the left hand side to get equality. So it is possible. Similarly, in the case of greater than or equal constraint, it is possible to subtract some non-negative quantity on the left hand side to get equality. So those two situations are possible, we can make. But after making inequalities as equalities, again we are adding new variables in the equations. Okay. So this violates the equality condition. Okay. So this violates the corresponding equality of constraints, since we are adding the new variables in the equation, that is in the equations. Okay. So this violates the corresponding equality of the constraint. Okay. So to maintain that, in the final solution, the artificial variables must be 0. So to maintain the equality condition, finally, in the final solution, the artificial variables must be 0. Okay. So how do we achieve this? This is achieved by assigning a large negative price -m to each artificial variable for maximization problem. Okay. So we assign a large negative cost or price minus m to each artificial variable in the case of maximization problem. Okay. So what is the price of slack and surplus variables? 0. We take 0. Okay. But in this case, in the final solution, the artificial variables must be 0. So to achieve this, we assign a large negative cost to each artificial variable in the case of maximization problem. So this m is very large price compared with all other costs. Okay, all other costs means the cost of decision variables x1, x2, and so on. So compared with other costs, this minus m is, that is m is very large quantity. Okay. So this is the concept of big M method. Okay, right. So after doing the simplex algorithm, suppose in the final simplex table, at least one artificial variable appear with a positive value. In the final simplex table, at least one artificial variable appear with positive value. Then what happened? So our aim is all artificial variables must be 0 in the final solution. Suppose we get all artificial variables 0 in the final solution, okay, equality maintains. Since artificial variable 0, then the equality maintains. Suppose at least one artificial variable appear in the final solution with positive value, with some positive value. Then hello? So then the equality violates. So to compensate that equality, at least one of the other variables must be some negative to compensate or to maintain the equality. Okay, so that means at least one of other variables is negative. That means the solution is not feasible solution. The feasible solution means all variables should be greater than or equal to 0. If at least one variable is negative, it is not a feasible solution. So we discard that. Okay. So in this case, the problem has no feasible solution. Okay. So in the final simplex table, if at least one artificial variable appear with positive value, then the problem has no feasible solution. Okay. So this is the method to handle artificial variables or to handle the constraints involving greater than or equal time. Okay, so this is not a separate method. This is a part of simplex method to handle the artificial variables. So you have to keep in mind this last point. Okay, this last point. So after solving the problem, in the final solution, if at least one artificial variable appear with a positive value, then the problem has no feasible solution. That is, problem has infeasible solution. Okay. So this is another one more question. How do you identify infeasible solution for a linear programming problem? How do you identify infeasible solution to a linear programming problem in the simplex method? Okay. So you have to write this part. You have to write this part. If at least one artificial variable appear in the final simplex table with a positive value, then the problem has no feasible solution, or the problem has infeasible solution. Okay. So that is big M method to handle artificial variables or to handle constraints with greater than or equal time. Okay, right. So there is another topic, multiple optimal solutions. So what is multiple optimal solution? So the LPP may have optimal solutions at more than one point. The LPP may have optimal solutions at more than one point, but the objective function value, whether it is maximization or minimization, is unique, but it may occur at more than one solution. So in that case, the problem has multiple optimal solutions. Okay, so how do you find the multiple optimal solutions? First, how do we check whether the problem has a multiple optimal solution? Okay, for that, the final simplex table is starting point to find all other optimal solutions if exist. Suppose the LPP has multiple optimal solutions. How do you identify that? That is, the final simplex table is the starting point, whether to check the LPP has a unique optimal solution or more than one optimal solution. Okay, so final simplex table is the starting point. How to identify? Suppose in the final simplex table, for a non-basic variable xj, in the final simplex table, for a non-basic variable xj, its delta value is 0. Its delta value is 0. Then the problem has multiple optimal solutions. So this is the point to identify whether the problem has multiple solutions or not. Okay, so in the final simplex table, for a non-basic variable xj, suppose its delta j value is 0, then the problem has multiple optimal solutions. Once the problem has more than one optimal solution, it has infinite number of optimal solutions. Since we know that feasible region is convex set, so the convex combination of 2 points gives another optimal solution. In that way, we get infinite number of optimal solutions. Okay, so the LPP have unique optimal solution, or if it has more than one solution, it has infinite number of optimal solutions. Okay, so this is the point. This will be given in one more question. How do you identify the existence of multiple optimal solutions to a LPP? Okay, so what is the answer? In the final simplex table, for a non-basic variable, its delta j value is 0, then the problem has multiple optimal solutions. So that is the point. Okay, right. So here, keep in the mind, already I have told, delta j value is 0 for all basic variables, everywhere. Delta j is 0 for all basic variables, in any simplex table. Okay, but for a non-basic variable, in the final simplex table, its delta j value is 0. In that case, the problem has multiple optimal solutions. Okay, right. How do you find these multiple optimal solutions? In such case, xj is taken as entering basic variable. Okay, so we take such non-basic variable for which delta j equals 0 is taken as entering basic variable. Okay, then we have to find the leaving basic variable. It is as usual by using minimum ratio test. So find the leaving basic variable using minimum ratio test, as in simplex method. Okay, so this non-basic variable is taken as entering basic variable. By using minimum ratio test, we find leaving basic variable. Then we find the another optimal solution, as usual, in the simplex method. Okay. So this is the process to identify multiple optimal solutions. Okay, right. Write the problem. Use simplex method to solve the following LPP. All of you solve the problem simultaneously. So maximize Z called. Maximize Z equals 6x1 plus 4x2 subject to 2x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal 30. 3x1 plus 2x2 less than or equal 24. x1 plus x2 greater than or equal to 3. And x1, x2 greater than or equal to 0. Right, another question also, continuation. Also find multiple optimal solutions if exist. Also find multiple optimal solutions if exist. So also find multiple optimal solutions if exist. Okay. Right? Solution. So what is first step? Convert the LPP to standard form. So what are the characteristics of standard form? Objective function should be maximization. So here objective function is maximization. All variables should be non-negative. So that is x1, x2 greater than or equal to 0. So these are non-negative. And before that, all the values in RHS, right hand side of constraints should be non-negative. So all these values are non-negative. Okay. Now convert inequalities to equalities. First constraint is less than or equal type. First two constraints are less than or equal type. Third one is greater than or equal type. So how do you convert less than or equal type to equality? By adding slack variable. Okay, right? Add slack variables. Add slack variables S1, S2 in first and second constraints. Since first two constraints are less than or equal type, we add slack variables. And third one is greater than or equal type, we subtract surplus variable. So subtract surplus variable S3 in third constraint. Okay, right? What is first constraint? 2x1 plus 3x2 plus s1 equal 30. So in the first constraint, add slack variable s1. So inequality become equality. Next, second constraint, 3x1 plus 2x2 plus s2 equal 24. Okay, this is second constraint. Third constraint. In the third constraint, subtract surplus variable s3. So x1 plus x2 minus s3 equal 3. Next step is write in the matrix form. In the matrix form, Ax equal to B. First write coefficient matrix A equal first row. First row is coefficients of first equation. First row is coefficients in the first equation. So x1 coefficient 2, x2 coefficient 3, s1 coefficient 1. There are no s2, s3 terms in the first constraint. So their coefficients zeros. Next, second row. Second row is coefficients of second equation. x1 coefficient 3, x2 coefficient 2. There is no s1 term, coefficient 0. s2 coefficient 1. There is no s3 term, coefficient 0. Next, third row. Coefficients of third equation. So x1 coefficient 1. Here x2 coefficient 1. There are no s1, s2 terms. So their coefficients zeros. Here 0, 0. And s3 coefficient minus 1. Since we have subtracted, that is minus s3. So its coefficient is minus 1. Okay, this is minus 1. So this is coefficient matrix. And variable vector, capital X equal x1, x2, s1, s2, s3. Then small b, right side vector. Small b equal right side values 30, 24, 3. Okay, so this is in matrix form. Okay, right. So next, what is the next step? Examine whether the coefficient matrix contain unit matrix or not. So here observe the coefficient matrix. 1, 0, 0. We have first column of unit matrix. 1, 0, 0. 0, 1, 0. We have second column of unit matrix. But it is 0, 0, minus 1. So this is not third column of unit matrix. Okay. So we require 0, 0, 1 column to get unit matrix. So how do you get this? That means we have to add a new variable to appropriate equation in order to get unit matrix. We need 0, 0, 1 column in the unit matrix. So we require the artificial variable in the third constraint. So here we have to get 1. So we require, that means we have to get 0, 1. So we have to add artificial variable in the third constraint. In this, we have to add artificial variable in the third constraint only. Okay. So clearly, right? The coefficient matrix does not contain unit matrix I3. Clearly, the coefficient matrix does not contain unit matrix I3. So add artificial variable XA1. So artificial variables are denoted by this notation XA1. A means artificial. So add artificial variable XA1 in the third constraint. So artificial variables are denoted by XA1, XA2, XA3 like that. So add artificial variable XA1 in third constraint. So first two constraints are same. First two constraint as it is 2x1 plus 3x2 plus s1 equal 30. Second constraint is also same, 3x1 plus 2x2 plus s2 equal 24. The third constraint, we have to add artificial variable xa1 in the last. That is x1 plus x2 minus s3 plus xa1 equal 3. So write in this pattern only, it is then only you can write the columns corresponding to the variables easily. Okay. Right. Now what is the coefficient matrix? A equal. So first 5 columns are, these are as it is. These are same. So we have new column, this one, 0, 0, 1, XA1 column. So there are no XA1 terms in first two constraints. So their coefficients 0, 0, and XA1 coefficient 1. Okay. So this is new coefficient matrix. Okay. Right. Now verify the unit matrix. So clearly A contains unit matrix. This is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. These are corresponding to S1, S2, and 0, 0, 1. This is corresponding to XA1. Okay. So we have to choose the variables corresponding to unit matrix as basic variables. Okay. Right. So initial basic feasible solution, IBFS. Initial basic feasible solution. Choose the variables S1 comma S2 comma XA1 corresponding to unit matrix as basic variables. So you have to take the basic variables in the unit matrix order. First you have to write the variable corresponding to 1, 0, 0, that is S1. Then variable corresponding to 0, 1, 0, that is S2. Then variable corresponding to 0, 0, 1, that is XA1. Okay. So then the initial basic feasible solution is as usual in the previous problem, XB equal to B inverse B, capital XB equal to capital B inverse small b. Here capital B is unit matrix I3 inverse B, I3 inverse is I3 into B is B as usual. And column vector capital Xj equal to capital B inverse AJ, that equal to I3 inverse AJ, and scalar delta J equal to capital CBXJ minus CJ. So these 3 steps as it is for every problem. So you have to calculate this column vector Xj and this scalar delta J corresponding to for each variable. So we write in tabular form. Okay. So before going to tabular form, so here artificial variables are involved. here artificial variables are involved. So to handle these artificial variable, we have to use big M method. So big M method is not a separate method, it is a part of simplex method. Even though we have asked in the problem, use simplex method to solve the LPP. Okay, so that means suppose there is an artificial variable involving, then we have to use big M method automatically. Okay, at present. So there is another method we will discuss in the next class. At present, we have big M method to handle artificial variable. Okay, so what is artificial variable? For each, sorry, what is that is big M method? So what is big M method? In big M method, we assign a cost minus M to each artificial variable. A large negative price minus M to each artificial variable. Write this by big M method, assign a cost minus M to each artificial variable. By big M method, assign a cost minus M to each artificial variable. Okay, right, tabular form, table 1. So similar structure for each problem and for each iteration you have similar structure of tabular form. So you need not draw with scale, just draw rough table. First column is basic variables. Second column, cost of basic variables, that is CB. Third column, solution, capital XB. So here we have two sub rows. So here we have column vectors, capital X1, then capital X2 here. Then next S1, capital S1, capital S2, capital S3. Then last one is artificial variable, capital XA1. Last column is minimum ratio test. Last column is minimum ratio. Right. So here we write the cost of the variables. That is from objective function. So what is objective function? This is the objective function. 6x1 plus 4x2. So x1 cost 6. So here 6. x2 cost 4. So here 4. S1, S2, S3 are slack and surplus variables. Their cost 0. And XA1 is artificial variable. So by big M method, we assign a cost minus M. Okay, so S1, S2, S3 cost 0, 0, 0. And XA1 is artificial variable. By big M method, we assign the cost minus M. Okay. Right. So what is first basic variable? S1. So first basic variable is S1. Second basic variable is S2. Third one is XA1. Right. Next, write cost of basic variables. S1 cost 0. This is S2 cost 0. And XA1 cost is minus M. So you can write these values from here. From here, you can write these values. Then what is solution? XB equal to small b. Small b is this one, right side values. First value 30. Second value 24. Third value 3. So this is the solution. Next, write the first column 2, 3, 1. Right, second column 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Third column 1, 0, 0. S2 column 0, 1, 0. S3 column 0, 0, minus 1. And XA1 column 0, 0, 1. So you can write these entries from this coefficient matrix. Okay, right. So here we calculate scalars, that is delta J values. So here we calculate scalars, delta J values. What is delta 1? Delta 1 is CBX1. So this column into this column. That is 0 into 2 plus 0 into 3 plus minus m into 1. So this product is minus m minus of this value 6. So in formulation, delta 1 equals CBx1 minus C1. CB is row vector 0 0 minus m into capital X1 is column vector 2 3 1 minus C1, that is 6. So 0 0 minus m minus 6. So this value is minus m minus 6. This is delta 1. Okay. Next, delta 2. Same process. Delta 2 is CB x2 minus C2. So that is CB. That is this column. That is 0 into 3 plus 0 into 2, 0 minus m into 1 minus m minus 4. So that is minus m minus 4. Delta 2 is minus m minus 4. Okay. And S1, S2 are basic variables. The delta j value 0. You need not calculate, you can write. So delta j value is 0 for each basic variable. Next, what is delta value for S3? So CB S3. So 0 into 0 plus 0 into 0 minus m into minus 1 plus m minus 0. So m. So delta j value for S3 is m. And X7 is basic variable, its delta j value is 0. Okay, next. Write the objective functional value corresponding to this solution. ZB called CBXB. ZB called CBXB. CB means this column into XB is this column. Okay, so 0 into 30 plus 0 into 24 minus m into 3. So minus 3m. So ZB is minus 3m. So this is our objective functional value corresponding to this solution. Okay. So we have initial basic feasible solution. Okay. Now verify the optimality condition. That means whether this solution is an optimal solution or not. So what is optimality condition? All delta j greater than or equal 0. So observe all these values. All these are delta j values. Observe all these values. Since m is very large value compared with other price, if this m coefficient is positive, it is positive term. If m coefficient is negative, then it is negative term. Okay, so you don't bother about this term, minus 6, minus 4, whatever. Okay, you just observe this value. If m coefficient is positive, it is positive term. If m coefficient is negative, it is negative term. So here we have minus m. So it is negative term. Here also we have minus m, negative term. These are zeros. This is m coefficient 1. So this is positive term. Okay. So these two are only negative terms. So all delta j not greater than or equal 0. So optimal condition is not satisfied. So all delta j not greater than or equal 0. So present solution is not an optimal solution. Present solution is not an optimal solution. Okay, right. So that means we have to improve the solution. So that means we have to find another basic feasible solution. How do you find another basic feasible solution? By replacing one of the basic variables by a non-basic variable. For that, first we find entering basic variable. How do you find entering basic variable? Delta k equal minimum of delta j such that delta j less than 0. Okay. So we find negative delta j values. Among those, we consider minimum value. Okay. Negative delta j values. Among those, we consider minimum value. That is minimum of minus m minus 6, minus m minus 4. And this is positive value. You need not consider. So here m coefficient is minus 1. It is m coefficient is minus 1. Same. So in that case only you consider this value. So this is minus 6, minus 4. So among these two, minimum is minus m minus 6. Okay. So that is delta 1. So this is minimum value. So the corresponding variable x1 is entering basic variable. So x1 is entering basic variable. So this is entering basic variable. Circle the first column, x1 column. Circle x1 column. So x1 is entering basic variable. That is, x1 is going to replace by a basic variable. So x1 is entering basic variable. Okay, right. Next. Next, we have to verify whether the problem has an unbounded solution or not. We have to verify whether the problem has an unbounded solution or not. So what is that condition? In the pivot column. So this is called as pivot column. This is called as pivot column. In the pivot column, observe the entries. So the entries are not less than or equal 0. So all entries in pivot column are not less than or equal 0. So problem has no unbounded solution. Problem has no unbounded solution. That means problem has a bounded solution. Okay, right. So we can find leaving basic variable. How do you find leaving basic variable? By using minimum ratio test. What is minimum ratio test? In the pivot column, consider the positive values. So this is positive value, we consider. This is positive value, we consider. This is positive value, we consider. Consider the positive entries in the pivot column. For those entries, take the ratio with corresponding solution. This is 30/2. Okay, so right here 30/2, that is 15. Okay, next, this is also positive value. So take the ratio with corresponding solution. This is 24/3, right here 24/3, that is 8. So this is also positive value. Take the ratio with corresponding solution. So 3/1, right here 3/1, that is 3. Among these ratios, take the minimum value. So this is the minimum value. So this is the minimum value. So then the corresponding variable xa1 is leaving basic variable. So this is leaving basic variable. Okay. So that is the minimum ratio test. How do you write mathematically? How do you write mathematically? XBR by X or K. K means entering basic variable suffix. Entering basic variable is first basic variable x1. So K is 1. That is minimum of XBA such that xi1 greater than 0. That is minimum of these three ratios: 30/2, 24/3, 3/1. So minimum is 3/1. Okay. So the corresponding variable xa1 is leaving basic variable. So xa1 is leaving basic variable. Okay. So you don't bother about this notation. Okay. So maximum, right? You can write here the ratios. So xa1 is leaving basic variable. So circle the row, third row, the row corresponding to xa1. Okay. So that means in the next solution, this x1 is replaced by, xa1 is replaced by x1. In the next solution, this basic variable xa1 is replaced by this variable x1. Okay. And these two variables remain same in the next solution. Okay. So we write the tabular form. The next solution, table 2. Same structure, similar structure. But remember here we have an artificial variable. Okay. What is our aim of this in this? What is our aim in this procedure? Our aim is in the final solution, each artificial variable must be 0. When the artificial variable becomes 0, in the final solution, the artificial variable does not appear. That means it is a non-basic variable. Or suppose it can appear with 0 value. Okay. So in the final solution, the artificial variable must be a non-basic variable. So non-basic variable means we have to eliminate from the basis. So once the artificial variable is eliminated from the solution, in the next procedure, we need not consider that variable. Okay. So in the next table, we can delete XA1 column. In the next table, we can delete this column. So you consider only up to S3. Okay. So this is the point you have to keep in mind. Whenever artificial variable appear in the problem, once the artificial variable is eliminated from the solution, in the next solution, we need not consider those artificial variables. So we can remove that column from the table. So here you need not consider the column corresponding to XA1. So you consider the other columns. So this is the structure of the table 2. So this is the structure of table 2. Right. What are basic variables? So observe the table 1. So x1 is entering basic variable, xa1 is leaving basic variable. So xa1 is replaced by x1. So third place x1. The remaining 2 as it is. Remaining 2 variables same s1, s2. xa1 is replaced by x1. Okay. Right. What is the cost? S1 cost 0 from here. S2 cost 0 from here. X1 cost is 6. This is X1 cost is 6. This is 6. So what is the first step to find new solution? What is the first step to find new solution? First step is divide pivot row by pivot element. What is pivot row in first table? This is third row. This is pivot row. So here pivot element is intersection of pivot row and pivot column. So this is pivot element. So divide third row by 1. Write in third row in table 2. So since pivot element is 1, divide third row by 1. So 3 by 1, 3, 1 by 1, 1, 1 by 1, 1, 0 by 1, 0, 0 by 1, 0, minus 1 by 1, minus 1. So divide pivot row by pivot element. So here pivot row is third row, divide third row by 1. So 3 by 1. 3, 1 by 1, like that. Okay. Right. What is the second point? Fill the basic variable columns with unity matrix. So here S1 is first place. So S1 column is first place 1. This is S1, first place 1, remaining zeros. And delta J value also 0. S2 second place, S2 column, second place 1, remaining zeros. X1, third place, X1 column, third place already 1, remaining zeros. And delta J value also 0. So more than half of the table is completed. Okay. Right. So how do you calculate the remaining values? So to calculate this value, solution, first value in the solution. So consider the present value, that is 30 minus corresponding pivot column element. This is pivot column. The corresponding element is 2 by pivot element 1 into, for this corresponding pivot row element, pivot row is this, corresponding element is 3. So 30 minus 2 by 1 into 3. So right here 30 minus 2 by 1 into 3. So first to simplify this fraction, this part, simplify this one. So 30 minus 2 by 1, 2. 30 minus 2 into 3. That is 30 minus 6, 24. So here 24. Okay, right. For first row calculation, this minus 2 is fixed. You just replace present value here and pivot row element here. You just replace these two values to calculate other values. Okay, right. To calculate here x2 value corresponding s2, present value 3, pivot row element 1. Okay, just replace 3 here, 1 here. So 3 minus 2 into 1. 3 minus 2, 1. x2 is 1. Next for s3, present value 0 and pivot row entry minus 1. Just replace 0 minus 1. 0 minus 2 into minus 1, so plus 2. So here write 2. Okay, right. Next, to calculate this, right, to calculate this value, so present value 24 minus pivot column element 3 by pivot element 1 into pivot element this value. Okay, see here 24 minus 3 by 1 into 3. First simplify this part. 24 minus 3 into 3. 24 minus 9, 15. Okay, so for this row calculation, minus 3 fixed. You just replace this value and this value. Next, second value, x2, this value. For x2, replace just present value 2 and pivot row value 1. Replace just 2 here, 1 here. 2 minus 3 into 1. 2 minus 3 minus 1. So here minus 1. For s3, just replace 0, present value, and pivot row element minus 1. 0 minus 3 into minus 1. Plus 3. So it's plus 3. Okay. So this is the table. Next, find scalars here, delta j values. First, delta 2. Delta 2 is 2, that is CB x2, that is 0 into 1 plus 0 into minus 1 plus 6 into 1, 6 minus 4. Okay, that is 2. And for S3, 0 into 2 plus 0 into 3, 6 into minus 1, minus 6, minus 0. So minus 6. Okay. Next, objective function value, ZB equal. So 0 into 24 plus 0 into 15 plus 0 6 into 3, that is 18. So objective function value is 18. So now repeat the same process. Optimality condition, solve delta j not greater than or equal 0. So the present solution is not an optimal solution. So among these delta j values, one value is negative value, so itself minimum value. So delta k equal to minimum of minus 6. We have only one negative value. The corresponding variable is S3 is entering basic variable. Circle this. S3 is entering basic variable. Here all entries in the pivot column are not less than or equal 0. All entries in the pivot column are not less than or equal 0. So problem has no unbounded solution. Problem has no unbounded solution. Next, to find the minimum ratio test. So this is positive value and this is positive value. So consider the ratio corresponding with solution. Okay, this is 24 by 2. That is 12. This is also positive value. So 15 by 3. That is 5. So this is negative value. We need not consider this value. Okay. So we have only these two ratios. So minimum is 5. The corresponding variable S2 is leaving basic variable. Circle the row. Circle the row S2. So S2 is leaving basic variable. So in the next solution, this S3 is replaces S2, or S2 is replaced by S3 in the next solution. And S1 x1 remain same in the next solution. Okay. Right. You calculate table 3. Next solution I will continue in the next class. Okay. Okay, right. So in the previous class, we have done that problem up to table 2. So this is table 2. In table 2, S3 is entering basic variable, S2 is leaving basic variable. So in place of S2, we have S3. Okay. So consider the structure of table 3. First column basic variables, second column CB, then XB, then column vectors capital X1, capital X2, S1, S2, S3. So this is table 3 structure, and this is table 2. Right. So in place of S2, we have S3. S3 is entering basic variable and S2 is leaving basic variable in the table 2. That is, in the next solution, we have S3 in place of S2. That is in second position, S3. Other two variables remain same. First S1, then X1. Third place X1. So these two remain same. Right, to cost, S1 cost 0, slack variable. S3 cost, slack variable 0, X1 cost 6. What you have to do to fill the new table? First step, divide pivot row by pivot element. So pivot element is here 3. This is pivot element. So divide second row by 3. Write in second row here. So 15 by 3, 5. 0 by 3, 0. Minus 1 by 3, minus 1 by 3. 0 by 3, 0. Here 1 by 3, 1 by 3. 3 by 3, 1. So first divide pivot row by pivot element, that is 3. Write in second place, second row. Next, fill the basic variable columns with the corresponding unit matrix. S1 is first place, S1 column. First place 1, remaining zeros. So delta J value also 0, since it is basic variable. Next, S3 second place, S3 column. Second place 1, already 1, remaining places zeros. X1 third place, X1 column. Third place 1, remaining zeros. Okay. This is second step. Third step, to calculate the other values, we use that method. Okay, ring and round method. How do you calculate? Present value. So to calculate this value, the present value 24 minus pivot column element 2 by pivot element 3 into pivot row element. For this corresponding pivot row element is this one. Okay. So here 24 minus 2 by 3 into 50. Okay. So here this part minus 2 by 3 fixed for this row calculation. You just change this value and this value. Okay. So simplify this, 3 5s, 5 into 2, 10. 24 minus 10, that is 40. So here 40. For this row calculation, you just replace present value here and pivot row element here. Okay. So to calculate x2 value, x2 column, just replace 1 and minus 1 here. So here 1 minus 2 by 3 into minus 1. So you take LCM 3 plus 2, 5 by 3. So x2, 5 by 3. Next, S2 value. So 0, 1. Present value 0 and pivot row element 1. So here just replace here 0, here 1. So 0 minus 2 by 3 into 1. So minus 2 by 3. This is minus 2 by 3. Okay. Similarly, for third row, present value is 3. For this pivot column element is minus 1. Divided by pivot row element is 3 into corresponding pivot row element is 15. Okay. Right. So 3 minus 1 by 3 into 15. So first simplify this part. Minus or minus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3. So 3 plus 1 by 3 into 15. So for this row calculation, this plus 1 by 3 fixed. Just change this value and this value. Okay. So 3 5s, 5 plus 3, 8. So this value is 8. Next, x2. To calculate x2 value, just replace here present value 1 and pivot row element minus 1. Here just replace here 1 and here minus 1. So 1 plus 1 by 3 into minus 1. So 3 minus 1, 2 by 3. This is 2 by 3. S2 value here. Just replace present value 0 and pivot row element 1. Here 0 plus 1 by 3 into 1. That is 1 by 3. So this value 1 by 3. Okay. Right. Now calculate delta J values. So this value. So delta 2. Delta J value for x2. CB capital X2. That is 0 into 5 by 3 plus 0 into minus 1 by 3 plus 6 into 2 by 3. So these two are zeros. 6 into 2 by 3. 4 minus this value. 0. You get 0. Similarly, delta value for S2. So 0 into minus 2 by 3 plus 0 into 1 by 3, 0 plus 6 into 1 by 3. That is 2 minus 0. Okay, that is 2. So this is delta J value for S2. Okay. Now objective function value corresponding to this solution. ZB equal CB into XB. So 0 into 14 plus 0 into 5 plus 6 into 8. That is 48. So objective function value ZB equal 48. Okay. So this is the new table which gives a new basic feasible solution. Okay. Next, repeat the same process. So verify the optimality condition. So what is optimality condition? All delta J greater than or equal 0. So here observe all these values. all these are greater than or equal 0, right? All delta j greater than or equal 0. So present solution is an optimal solution. So optimal condition is satisfied. So present solution is an optimal solution. So optimal solution is we have to write decision variables. So we have only two decision variables, x1 and x2. First x1. So here x1 equal 8. So this is the solution. This is the solution. So x1 equal 8. Another decision variable is x2. So here in the basic variables there is no x2. That means x2 is non-basic variable. So it is 0. So x2 equal 0. That is NBV, non-basic variable. So here we have no x2. It is non-basic variable. And objective function value max z equal 48. This is objective function value. Max z equal 48. So this is optimal solution to the problem. Okay. Right. Now we have to check whether the problem has multiple optimal solutions or not. How do you identify multiple optimal solutions? The last simplex table is the starting point to find multiple optimal solutions if exist. So what is that condition? In the last simplex table, for a non-basic variable, if delta j is 0, then the problem has multiple optimal solutions. First observe here what are non-basic variables. X1 is basic variable, x2 is non-basic variable. There is no x2 here. So these are basic variables. All other variables are non-basic variables. Okay. So x1 is basic variable. Next x2. x2 is non-basic variable. For x2, delta j is 0. So for a non-basic variable x2, its delta j value is 0. So this problem has multiple optimal solutions. Okay. Right. So alternative optimal solution. So for a non-basic variable x2, delta j is 0. So for the non-basic variable x2, delta 2 equal 0. So problem has multiple optimal solutions. Problem has multiple optimal solutions. Right. How do you find another optimal solution? The non-basic variable for which delta j is 0 is taken as entering basic variable. So here the non-basic variable is x2 for which delta j is 0. So we take x2 is entering basic variable. X2 is entering basic variable. So circle column corresponding to x2. So this is entering basic variable, that is this is pivot column. Right. How do you find leaving basic variable? As usual, using minimum ratio test. What is minimum ratio test? Consider positive entries in the pivot column. So this 5/3 is positive entry. We consider this 5/3 and we take the ratio corresponding with solution. Okay. So 14/5/3. So right here in the last column, 14/5/3. This is 42/5. So 3 into 14. 42/5. And this is negative. We need not consider this entry. We skip it. Next, third entry is positive. So for this, we consider the ratio corresponding with solution. This is 8/2/3. Right here, 8/2/3. So this is 24/2, 12. So among these two, minimum is something. This is 8 point something. This is 12. So minimum is 42/5 is minimum. This is minimum. And the corresponding variable S1. So S1 is leaving basic variable. The basic variable corresponding to this minimum ratio is leaving basic variable, that is S1. S1 is leaving basic variable. So circle S1 row. So circle S1 row. Okay. So X2 is entering basic variable and S1 is leaving basic variable. So in the next solution, this S1 is replaced by X2. S1 is replaced by X2 in the next solution. The other two variables, S3 and X1 remain same. Right, next table 4. So this is previous table. Take the structure as usual. You draw the table roughly. You did not use scale. Right, fill the first column, basic variables. Observe the table 3. In table 3, X2 replaces S1. That is, S1 is replaced by X2. That is first variable X2. Another two variables remain same. Second variable S3, third variable X1. These two remain same. Then X2 price 4. So that is CB. Is cost of basic variables. So X2 price 4. S3 slack variable price 0. X1 cost 6. Okay, right. Now what is the first step? Divide pivot row by pivot element. So pivot element is 5 by 3. Intersection of pivot row and pivot column. So 5 by 3 is pivot element. So divide first row by 5 by 3. Write in first row of new table. So 14 by 5 by 3. That is 42 by 5. This is. Next 0 by 5 by 3. 0. 5 by 3 by 5 by 3. 1. 1 by 5 by 3. So 3 by 5. Next minus 2 by 3 by 5 by 3. 3 gets cancelled. So minus 2 by 5. Next 0 by 5 by 3. 0. So divide pivot row by pivot element. So your pivot row is first row. Divide first row by 5 by 3. Write in first row in the new table. Next two. Second step, fill the basic variable columns. X2 first place, X2 column. First place 1, already 1. Remaining zeros, this is 0, this is 0, this is 0. This is X2 column. Next S3, second place, S3 column. Second place 1, remaining zeros. X1, third place. So X1 column, third place 1, this is 1, remaining zeros. So these are the variables corresponding to, so these are the columns corresponding to basic variables. Okay, next third step, to calculate other values. So to calculate this value, come to here, present value 5 minus pivot column element minus 1 by 3 by pivot element 5 by 3 into for this pivot row element 14. Okay, so see here 5 minus 1 by 3 by 5 by 3 into 14. First to simplify this one. So minus or minus plus, this 3 gets cancelled. So 5 plus 1 by 5 into 14. So this plus 1 by 5 is fixed for this row calculation. You just change present value and pivot row value. Okay. So simplify this 25 plus 14, 39 by 5. So this value is 39 by 5. Okay. Next, to calculate S1 value, come here. So present value 0 and pivot row value 1. Just replace 0 and 1 here. So 0 plus 1 by 5 into 1. That is 1 by 5. Its value 1 by 5. Next, for S2. So present value 1 by 3. Pivot row value minus 2 by 3. Just replace here. 1 by 3 plus 1 by 5 into minus 2 by 3. So take LCM. LCM is 5 into 3. So 3 gets cancelled. 5 minus 2. 3 by 5 and 3. Again 3 gets cancelled. 1 by 5. You just you simplify this simplification. This is 1 by 5. This is row calculation. Second row calculation. Next, similarly to get third row calculation. Similar process. Third row. To calculate this value, so present value 8 minus pivot column element 2 by 3 by pivot element 5 by 3 into pivot row element. This value. So see here 8 minus 2 by 3 by 5 by 3 into 14. Okay. So here first simplify this ratio. Simplify this one. So here 3 gets cancelled. So 8 minus 2 by 5 into 14. So this minus 2 by 5 is fixed for this row calculation. You just replace this value and this value, present value and pivot row value. Okay. Take LCM 40 minus 28, that is 12 by 5. This is 12 by 5. Next, S1. For S1, present value 0 and pivot row value 1. Just here replace 0, here 1. So 0 minus 2 by 5 into 1. So minus 2 by 5. This is minus 2 by 5. Okay. For S2, replace present value 1 by 3 and pivot row value minus 2 by 3. Okay. So here 1 by 3 minus 2 by 5 into minus 2 by 3. Simplify this, minus minus plus. Take LCM 5 into 3. You simplify this, we get 3 by 5. You simplify this part, take LCM. This is 3 by 5. So this is third row calculation. Okay. Now calculate delta J values. So delta J value for S1. Okay. So CB into S1. That is 4 into 3 by 5 plus 0 into 1 by 5, 0 plus 6 into minus 2 by 5. This is 4 into 3, 12 by 5. This is 0. This is minus 12 by 5, 0 minus cost 0. So you get 0. S1 is 0. For S1, delta G is 0. Next, for S2, same calculation. 4 into minus 2 by 5. That is minus 8 by 5 plus 0 into 1 by 5. 0 plus 6 into 3 by 5. That is 18 by 5. 18 by 5 minus 8 by 5. 10 by 5, 2. This is 2. So delta J value for S2, 2. Next, objective function value corresponding to this solution. ZB equals CB into XB. So these two. 4 into 42 by 5 plus 0 into 39 by 5 plus 6 into 12 by 5. So simplify that, we get 48. This is objective function value corresponding to this solution. So here also all delta J greater than or equal 0. Here also all delta J greater than or equal 0. So optimal condition is satisfied. So another optimal solution is we have to write decision variables only. First x1, right from the table. So this is the solution. This is the solution column. This is the solution column. So x1 is 12 by 5. So another optimal solution is x1 equal 12 by 5. And this is x2. So x2 equal 42 by 5. X2 equal 42 by 5. You need not S3. Since S3 is slack and surplus variable, we don't bother about other variables. We just write decision variables only. If any decision variable is not present in the basic variables, it is non-basic variable, it is 0. Okay, that objective function value is 48. So we get same objective function value. Okay, so the maximum value is unique, but it may exist at different points. Okay, so we get same objective function value, max z is 48. So we have two multiple optimal solutions. Okay, since the feasible solution region is convex set, we can get infinite number of optimal solutions by using these two. That is, their convex combination gives an optimal solution. Okay, right? So infinite number of optimal solutions are given by so we have to write convex combination of the two solutions. So first solution is this one, x1 is 8, x2 0. Second solution is this one, 12 by 5, 42 by 5. We have to write convex combination of these two solutions. Okay, that is the set notation. So lambda into first solution 8 0 plus 1 minus lambda into second solution 12 by 5, 42 by 5, such that what about lambda? Lambda lies between 0 and 1. 0 less than or equal, lambda less than or equal to 1. So this is the convex combination of these two solutions. Here the scalar lambda lies between 0 and 1. Okay, right. Simplify this. First, 8 lambda, simplify this. 8 lambda plus 1 minus lambda into 12 by 5. That is first element. 0 lambda 0 plus 1 minus lambda into 42 by 5. Such that 0 less than or equal, lambda less than or equal to 1. Just add these vectors. So 8 lambda plus 1 minus lambda into 12 by 5. Here 0 into lambda 0 plus 1 minus lambda into 42 by 5. Simplify this here. 12 by 5. 12 by 5. Next 8 lambda minus 12 lambda by 5. Simplify that. We get 40 minus 12. 28 by 5 lambda here. Here 1 minus lambda into 42 by 5. Okay. So this set gives infinite number of optimal solutions by substituting lambda value between 0 and 1. Since between 0 and 1 we have infinite number of values, so we get infinite number of optimal solutions. Here observe, if you take lambda equals 0, we get second solution 42 by, that is 12 by 5, 42 by 5. If you take lambda equal to 1, we get first solution. Take lambda equal to 1, 1 minus 1, 0. This becomes 0. Here this become 8. Okay. So this set gives infinite number of optimal solutions.